Hi, everyone. Today I have Jennifer Beckley from Furman University with us today, and I'm excited. Jen and I were just talking about the fact that my last college visit before COVID struck was a visit to Furman. So I'm really excited to have you with us today, Jen. I know this is a busy time for you, so thanks for taking the time to share a little more about Furman with us.
Thank you.
And I'll let you take it from here.
All right, sounds great. Just to give you a little bit of background on me, I am actually a regional admission counselor. So I am not on campus in the office. I actually work out of my home base in Knoxville, Tennessee, and just joined the team this summer. So it's been really fun to sort of get to meet different students and get to schools, meet counselors, all on a virtual level, of course, so far, but it's been a lot of fun. So if we were welcoming you to campus right now, which very soon I hope we will get to do that, we would be welcoming you here at our Welcome Center. So this is sort of this visual that I have on the screen is our welcome, kind of our main entrance or main gate to campus, and where I spend just a little bit of time talking about our history. Furman was founded in 1826. That makes us the 64th oldest university in the United States, and I believe the oldest private institution in the state of South Carolina. The reason I say that is because, yes, we have a rich, kind of robust history, lots of tradition, lots of legacy, lots of history. We go way back, but our campus itself is super fresh, updated, green. It's a beautiful campus. I would like to consider Furman's campus almost to be a destination spot. We just have some great spaces on campus. In our 750 acres, we have, of course, that includes our sports complexes. We do have a private, actually not private, we do have a golf course that we have. We have a farm with our sort of sustainability program that we offer on campus. We have a beautiful lake. So if you've ever received any sort of postcard, either virtually or in paper, we have this beautiful 40-acre lake called Swan Lake on campus that sort of has the bell tower. So it's sort of our kind of insignia, that kind of token visual from campus. That's right in the middle of campus. That 750 acres also includes our nature trail that runs through. It starts out in Travelers Rest, which is this quaint little town just north of campus and goes the whole way down to downtown Greenville. So that 750 acres includes a lot, but the academic heart of campus, so where you would be mostly spending your time, dining hall, residence halls, academic buildings, is all very walkable. So you might think, gosh, 750 acres is a long walk to English class or to go get something to eat. It's not that. The heart of campus is very walkable. The farthest point is probably our junior and senior housing, which is a little removed from the academic center of campus, because it's junior and senior sort of apartment style housing, which I'll touch on a little bit later on, but it's still on campus, but it's probably maybe more of a 10-minute or 15 at the most walk to kind of those main academic buildings and main points of campus, the library and so forth. So that's where we are with a little bit of history and kind of our space that we have. In terms of our student body, we are a small liberal arts private institution, as I had mentioned. And when I say small, I don't mean like super, super small. I mean like, I've heard Furman referred to many times as sort of the smaller side of medium. So I think that 2,800, which is predominantly focused on our undergrad experience. We do have a few master's programs and graduate level programs, but that 2,800 students is our undergrad student population. Smaller side of medium in that it's a very special size in that it's easy to get involved, super easy to get involved and get involved like deeply in what you're doing. But yet it's large enough where you walk across campus and you're going to see an unfamiliar face or two. You're going to see lots of friendly faces, but not everyone, you're not going to know everyone, and not everyone's going to be in your business all the time. So it's a great size. It's also great because 72% of our students come from outside of South Carolina. So while we are a school in the South, I wouldn't necessarily consider Furman to be sort of a Southern school. You don't step foot on campus and feel like, oh gosh, everyone here is from South Carolina, or Georgia or Tennessee or North Carolina. We have a lot that come from all over, 48 states, 22 countries. So we do have a small international population. It's pretty diverse that way. We are located, if you look at the screen on the little bit on your left there, we are located in Greenville, South Carolina. I could spend probably the next 30 plus minutes talking just about Greenville itself. It's a fun spot. I would say that if you're a northerner like myself, I'm originally from Ohio. When you think South Carolina, you immediately think beaches. That's what I always thought, and imagined, and driving from Columbus, Ohio to say Charleston, the 10-hour trip to the beach. But if you explore the other side of South Carolina, where Greenville is located, it's called the upstate. Which simply just refers to mountains. So it's sort of this beautiful area of South Carolina that's sort of these kind of rolling mountains, not Smoky Mountain like Tennessee type mountains, not huge mountains, but these beautiful green mountains, very outdoorsy, very accessible to hiking and just lots of different things of that nature. We're 45 minutes south of Asheville, North Carolina, which in and of itself is a great city. Excuse me, we're located between Charlotte and Atlanta. So about an hour and a half from Charlotte, 2 hours from Atlanta. So if you're wanting sort of that larger urban experience on the weekends. And then speaking of beaches, we're like a 3-hour drive to Charleston or Myrtle Beach. So if you want to get up on a Saturday morning and drive to the beach, you can be there by lunch. It's really a fantastic spot. Greenville itself is just a thriving, fun city. It's gotten a lot of national attention in the last, I would say probably 8 to 10 years because of its urban development. It's considered sort of a food city, so lots of restaurants. The way it's been developing is in a good way. So it's not sort of overcrowded. The downtown is very walkable. It's the cutest, sort of quaintest little downtown area, very walkable. Main Street, there's a beautiful park, waterfall right in the middle of downtown. So it's sort of a city that offers a lot, but it has sort of that kind of hometown feel to it as well. It's just a really fantastic spot. It's also very accessible in terms of research opportunities, internship opportunities, job opportunities for our students. I always like to say that Furman loves Greenville. It's kind of a great spot for a college to be in. We're 10 minutes from campus. But Greenville loves Furman. So there's a really good relationship between the two. Lots of partnerships with businesses and nonprofits, big and small, in Greenville in terms of those opportunities for our students. We are headquarters to the largest healthcare system in the state of South Carolina. It's called Prisma Health. Our pre-health major has gotten a lot of attention in the last few years because I think of that relationship. Very easy to get into the health system on all levels, on all different kinds of levels in Greenville. So it's just a very accessible, very great city. Just north of campus, I mentioned Travelers Rest, which the students call TR for short. Another great little spot. Literally, I think 3 to 5 minutes from campus. You can jump on that nature trail and go right up the street where there's coffee shops and restaurants and just little stores, and it's a great spot too. So it's just a really perfect location for a little bit of everything.
And do most students fly in, if they're coming from out of state, are they flying into the Greenville airport?
There is, and there's a few direct flights. I think like from Chicago, there's I think direct flights from Dallas. So there are a few direct flights, but many need it sort of that kind of what do you call it, connecting flight. But yeah, the Greenville Spartanburg it's called the Greenville Spartanburg International Airport, GSP for short. It's probably about 20 minutes from campus. So super easy, smaller airport, very accessible. Some of our students will fly into like even Atlanta or Charlotte and get rides from people because we have a lot of students coming from those areas as well. So in terms of accessibility to campus, it's pretty easy. Flipping into how that 2,800 students translates to the classroom setting, this is where I always kind of take off my Furman hat and talk a little bit about like what, obviously, your wanting to continue your academic experience, further your education. So what does that look like? Furman has classes that are small and intimate and very engaging. So it's not you don't want to picture sort of the larger lecture hall of, 100 plus students. It's not that experience at all. Our average class size is about 15 students. You'll have classes as small as probably 5, and probably no more than about mid-20s. And those are going to be more of kind of the first year freshman classes. So you're engaged in the class, you're called on in the class. I overheard one of our student tour guides talk about how she was a little nervous preparing for class because she gets called on in class. So it's a very engaging experience. You're engaging with your classmates, you're engaging with your professors. And I always like to say too, that the faculty are there for a reason. They want that small, intimate environment as well. They want to get to know their students on not only an academic level, but also a personal level. Oftentimes you'll find those professors being advisors and mentors to the students, helping them navigate not only the classroom and maybe the subject matter, but also internships and research opportunities and things like that. So it's a really good, I think, very healthy, intimate relationships with students and faculty. I've also heard our students talk about how even the very quick pivot into remote learning, they were texting their professors were still very accessible. So it's really just a kind of, again, family, close-knit environment when it comes to that student-faculty or that student-professor relationship. It's all professor taught, so there's no teacher's assistants or grad assistants. All of our professors are, 100%. All the classes are taught 100% by the professors. And oftentimes, I'm going to touch on this a little bit in the next slide, you are partnering with those professors with research. You're under their wing. They're letting you kind of do your thing, but they're right alongside of you. So you're getting to know those faculty members and those professors on a lot of different levels. So one actually fun tradition that I want to just pause for a moment to share is that it's called the midnight breakfast. So right before semester exams, the professors and faculty cook breakfast, and who doesn't love breakfast for dinner? And it's not really midnight, it's more like 9 p.m. But they cook breakfast for the students as sort of we're here for you for exams, good luck. And so everyone's kind of well fed and with a fun sort of theme of breakfast before all the exams start. So not only they're preparing it, they're serving it to the students, they're connecting with those students before, what can be a kind of stressful time. So it's just fun to kind of, have those relationships with professors that way. So if you have any familiarity with Furman at all, this is sort of our thing. You can't really make it too far into a tour or an information session or even a conversation with anyone without the Furman Advantage coming up. Basically, these 4 diamonds or pillars are what we guarantee our students. And to be honest with you, these things have been around for a long time, but about 4 or 5 years ago, Furman kind of put a name to it and got very intentional with the academic experience at Furman. So basically what it means is sort of the blending of your academic experience, your classroom experience, through your general education requirements, through the classes you're going to choose for your major. So it's this sort of personalized, academic experience coupled with some hands-on, like real world experiential opportunities with mentorship and self-reflection. So to sort of summarize that in a very broad brushstroke, nutshell sort of way, that's what this is. Basically what that means is that you're not going to have, your Furman experience is going to look really different than anyone else's. And the way they do that is teaming you or partnering you or connecting you with a team of people, literally a team of people who help you navigate from the front end of your Furman experience to the back end of your Furman experience. And they are there because they want to help you. It's not just something we talk about and throw out pie in the sky type of things that, oh yeah, this is happening. It really is happening. I use a student as an example here. She majored, like I said, she double majored in German sustainability with sort of the intent to go pre-law. And the reason why she sort of realized that whole combination of things is because of a professor reaching out to her and saying, you know what, you should try German because it really kind of goes with sustainability. She would not have known that. I would not have known that. So it's kind of a neat situation that I think Furman has. It's also something that we absolutely guarantee access to. So that second diamond there, that second pillar, you're guaranteed access to research, internships, and study away opportunities. And those can start as early as your freshman year. That isn't something where you wait until junior and senior year and realize, you know, I should probably have a classroom experience if I want to be a teacher, or I should probably have some lab experience if I want to be a psych major or a biology major, or pre-health or whatever. Students are actually doing things out in the community, on campus with professors as early as the second semester of their freshman year. I think Furman also offers some really interesting and unique study away opportunities. That doesn't necessarily mean international. We call it away because it can be a hiking Maymester in the Smoky Mountains, right up the street, you know, that type of thing. So we offer these May X and June X experiences that are shorter than a semester. They're outside the academic year. So if you have sort of that, you know, fear of missing out, I don't want to be away for a whole semester or a year. These are great, and they're theme-based, so they're a little more focused on something in particular, like studying happiness in Denmark for some of our psych majors. There's a really popular one where they combine Disney World and math. It's called like Math and the Mouse or something like that. So there's really some unique study away opportunities that are sort of outside the traditional semester away or even year away, though those exist as well. But you are guaranteed access to those three types of experiences: research, internships, and study away. And I would say that 90%, actually over 90% of our students are doing one or more of those things. So bringing sort of your academic experience to the hands-on level, you know, it really is happening. Finally, that last little diamond there, pillar, we have institutes on campus that are unique in that, you know, for example, our SHI Institute of Sustainability is all about all things sustainability and environment. We have an institute on campus for leadership, politics. We have a community health institute right on campus. So again, sort of bringing the outside world to Furman. You know, we might be considered small, a smaller liberal arts or smaller side of medium liberal arts institution, but we have things happening on campus that are national and even global right on campus. So having that access is really great too for our students to get networking experience and just outside of Furman experience as well. Pivoting a little bit here to talk about our just residential experience. We are 100% residential. That means everyone lives on campus all 4 years. It's sort of a requirement. I think that makes campus community and sort of that family feel really strong. As I said, you're not going to know everyone and not everyone's going to know you, but because you live on campus all 4 years, you have the opportunities, and pretty easy opportunities, to get to know upperclassmen. Upperclassmen are really involved with underclassmen experiences. People cross over in the 165 plus clubs and organizations that we have. So the campus community is really quite strong. We have Division I sports. So it sort of adds that element of a bigger school feel when it comes to the sports that we have, whether you're participating yourself or just a spectator. So lots of tailgating when we host events on campus. None of that, unfortunately, is happening right now, but as soon as we can get back to some of those sporting events, it really is a fun experience. Lots of school spirit. We're part of the Southern Conference. So it's fun between the residence life, the sort of Division I sports, school spirit kind of element that's added to campus, and then just having a lot of things to do. I would say the typical Furman student is a social learner. So they're going to class, they're doing their thing, they're studying, you know, they are academically focused, but they're also involved in a lot of different ways. And as I said, a lot of deep ways too, things that they're very passionate about, whether it be their faith or maybe community service, student government, maybe it's a music club, maybe it's a club sport. So lots of ways to get involved. All right, I'm going to talk in these last couple of slides just a little bit about admissions. Furman does not have its own sort of specific application. We accept either excuse me, the common application or the coalition application. Two of the big things I think that are most important to us. Now, I will say that we have a holistic admission review. So what that means is that we are looking at you as the whole person, not just your numbers and letters, but the whole person. So while you'll hear me say that some things are optional, we still encourage our students to add to their application what they feel will enhance them most. So obviously, academics are important to us. We want students, we want our accepted students, our admitted students to be successful academically. So what we look at is the high school transcript, the GPA. We do strip that GPA down to an unweighted scale of a 4-point GPA scale. We're looking at those core classes of English, math, science, social studies, and foreign language. But having that school report along with the transcript really helps us get to know a student and what they have taken advantage of from their school. We understand that all schools are different. Not all schools can offer APs. Not all schools can offer honors classes. Not all schools can offer dual enrollment options or IB curriculum. So we're looking at your school based on your school report and our communication with your school counselor, whoever it might be, and looking at how you've taken advantage of those opportunities being offered to you. So did you take some honors classes? Did you take some AP classes? We're not looking at the fact that you took all of them. We want a healthy balance there too, but the fact that you've taken advantage of some of the things that your school has offered you, if there were those offerings. So we're not going to compare you, or your school to a school down the road from you or across the United States. That again allows us to sort of look at you holistically as a whole person. What is optional are the things listed there. Optional being letters of recommendation. We do encourage you to throw a couple of those in. Think about who you might want to write on your behalf. It could be a coach, it could be a teacher, it could be your counselor. It could be someone maybe you've worked for, an employer. A number of people who could really, again, add another sort of window to who you are as a person. Test scores, I know that is a sensitive topic of conversation and subject just because of so much that has been happening with COVID. Furman is and has been test optional since 2011, so about 10 years. We are not necessarily concerned with a student not being able to submit a test score. Now, if that shows another dimension to you, that you're a great test taker, by all means, submit that ACT or SAT score. But it's not necessarily something that we are, you're not going to be considered less for admission or scholarship if you don't submit a test score. We are test optional. We've been that way. We're comfortable with that. So optional as well. The resume is just another added sort of layer to your application that could highlight some things that maybe the Common App or the Coalition app didn't allow you to elaborate on. So if you've had sort of, some leadership experience over the years, or you've gotten very deeply involved in something that you can't quite, highlight in your application, by all means, submit a resume. Plus, a resume is just great experience to actually write one and practice writing one as as you're getting ready for eventually, the job market. So we encourage students to submit a resume if they would like to. We have 4 application rounds, 2 of those being binding or early decision. Basically what that means when you apply early decision, and you'll hear this from other schools as well, is that when you apply early decision, you are committing to us. That means you are committing before you know that you've been accepted. You're committing before you know that how the finances are going to shake out. It means that you bleed purple, that you look fabulous in paladin purple, and you know that Furman is the place for you. So we have 2 of those, November 15th being the earlier one, and then the second one is January 15th. The 2, I think if you kind of look and study those 4 rounds of application, it's really entirely up to the student and the family and what they feel is best for them. But we offer those different rounds because you could get things done early, by November 15th or December 1, Or if you want to really showcase your first semester senior year grades, those January 15th deadlines are helpful in that way too. So if you apply in the early part, or the November or the December deadlines, we're looking at the final grades of your junior year. If you're applying early decision 2 or regular decision, we can look at those first semester senior grades too. So it's entirely up to the student and the family, you and the family, as to what application round you choose.
Can I ask a quick question about that, Jen? If a student applies early action,
yes,
if the committee or the reviewers thought that they would like to see senior year grades, would they just then hold it over to regular decision before making a decision?
a great question. Possibly. I mean, I would like to maybe check on that since I've not been through an application season yet to be sure before I give you a confident answer. I would say that because of the way we do things holistically, and we have actually several reviews of applications, like students from, for example, Ohio, they're going to get a first read from me, but then other staff members are going to read their application as well. So there's, I guess, some time and space there where if they needed to then submit some later grades, they would be able to do that. I'll check on that, Kristina, but I'm pretty certain that yes, that they could, they can either switch their, well, I was going to apply early action, but I'm going to do regular decision. As long as we have that kind of, communicated from the student and the family, I think that would be an easy change, especially if they're like, man, I'm rocking I'm just rocking it right now. I really want to show these grades. Absolutely. We would want to see them too.
In the current times, because so many students had maybe challenging spring semesters, that maybe their fall grades might be a better indication of their abilities and help with that boost. So
absolutely. No, I totally agree with that. And that is one thing that we have started to talk about as a team, in that we are going to see some different things coming. We're going to see some different grading practices, or maybe some pass-fail type situations and things like that. So while we have not quite gotten to that level of conversation yet, and what ifs, I would say that, I'm fairly confident in answering your question that yes, we would want to see, especially, if I were working with a student as their advocate, I would want to say, you're doing a great job this semester. If you feel yes, we want to see those grades, because it's going to allow us to make a really good and solid decision on that student.
Right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. My final slide is sort of the investment slide, and that is, yes, Furman does come with a large sticker price that you see there, but the larger kind of number that I want you to walk away with and kind of just sort of burn into your brain, so to speak, is that over 90% of our students are receiving some sort of gift aid specifically with that large tuition, that large sticker price. So we are, and I guess I should say too, many private institutions can package their aid differently than, say, a state or a public school. So don't let that deter you from pursuing a Furman or a similar type of private institution that does come along with a larger sticker price. And note too, that price includes a lot. Obviously what you see there, tuition, room, board, and fees, but it's also the day-to-day stuff too. It's laundry services, it's printing services. I remember the days of bringing like a huge bag full of quarters to campus, but that's all included in tuition. In fact, they have the laundry services set up in such a way that they can text you when your laundry's done. It's like super high tech and cool. So a lot of that price, a lot of that sort of, I guess, day-to-day spending is included in that as well. IT services, so access to our technology services, access to our sporting events and our athletic center, academic services if you need some support academically. So there's a lot included there in terms of resources. In terms of scholarships on the other side of the screen there, when you apply for admission, you're automatically considered for scholarships. There's no separate application for scholarships. I get the question a lot, do you need to submit a test score in order to be considered for scholarships? No, we are truly a holistic review process. So when you apply for admission, we are also thinking about and considering you for different scholarships. Bell Tower being our most popular or common one, those range anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000 a year. Towns and Hollingsworth is the same number, so $35,000 with some stipends. Towns is for our out-of-state students. Hollingsworth is for our in-state, in South Carolina students, but it's the same sort of, money there, $35,000. Our James B. Duke full tuition is exactly that. It's our most competitive. That does require a little bit of an added layer of competition since it is our most competitive and our most generous scholarship, obviously. So we do usually narrow down our pool of applicants, bring those candidates back to campus, do some interviewing, kind of a more, maybe a panel type of experience to kind of narrow down the pool to who ultimately gets those full tuition scholarships. Know too that we offer talent-based scholarships in athletics since we're Division I, music, in lots of different music ways. We have actually a really unique music program where you can go a bunch of different paths in our music program alone. And then interestingly, Army ROTC. So that's another sort of something to consider. If you want to be considered, if your family wants to be considered for need-based aid, we do require both the FAFSA and the CSS profile. And simply that means that with requiring both of those, we can have a really sort of comprehensive look at your whole family's, financial situation and make the best as possible financial aid package with all of the things combined, merit, but also need-based aid. So, and that is what I have to share with you today about Furman.
That was great. That was super helpful, Jen. Thank you. And I think one of the things I would recommend is any of our students watching this, Furman is offering lots of opportunities to connect with students. Jen and I talked about this before we did the recording. Do you want to share what some of those are, Jen, in terms of how students can connect with either their admission counselor or students?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. So like I said, campus is currently closed for now. Furman has done a great job of very carefully and intentionally, purposefully welcoming our current students back to campus. So we we welcomed back our freshmen and seniors first, kind of as two groups, kind of in the middle of August, typical, back to school time. And then just recently, 2 weeks ago, allowed our sophomores and juniors to come back. So everyone's on campus. Fingers crossed, it's going to continue to go well. Once we know that we're safe and everyone's kind of, doing their part, we will start opening up to campus visits. In the meantime, we have so many virtual options. We are conducting high school visits in certain schools. We also have ways for you to connect to your admission counselor through counselor conversations. So you can get on our website and look at it's furman.edu/visit. So there are so many options to visit campus virtually, kind of in a 360-degree sort of tour type of way. You can connect with a student or visit one of our student panels. You can connect with a faculty member if you have really specific questions or really want to kind of dive deeper into sort of an academic area that you might be considering. We have, actually, we're hosting one tonight. We are doing these regional high school visits or regional showcases targeting certain geographic areas. So like tonight, we have one going on in the Midwest. So we have admission counselors presenting alongside students from those geographic areas, as well as alums who went to Furman that are in those geographic areas, kind of sharing their experiences. So you're hearing it from a number of different, you're hearing sort of an admission side, but you're also hearing from a current student, but also a student that went through Furman and now they're living in that area. And so, or maybe they're from that area. So it's kind of an interesting sort of geographic way to talk about Furman and be connected to Furman that way. I think those are kind of the big things that we are doing, but lots of different ways. If you go to that, just our Furman website, but go to visit /visit. It's all on there. It's all completely live, and fresh, kind of hot off the press. We just kind of made everything live here in the last couple of weeks. So,
Well, this is I think one of the silver linings to this crazy time is that things like that, where you're able to offer students an opportunity to meet with students, alumni, faculty, staff, whoever, all from the ease of their own home,
exactly.
that kind of thing is really something I think that's been a benefit so far, because
Absolutely.
normally to try to rally all of those people simultaneously to meet
Right.
with, a couple of families or a group of
Is no easy feat.
be
Yes.
very challenging. So, hopefully students will take advantage of that, and families will be able to join a lot of those things. So thanks for organizing all that stuff. I know it's a lot, but I'm appreciative that you took the time. I know you're busy. I know this is a crazy time, but
No, I appreciate
thanks
you.
for sharing so much. And anybody watching, please don't hesitate to reach out to the folks at Furman. Like I said, I was happy that was my last visit.
I know, right?
This crazy.
Hopefully left sort of a very strong impression and
It
memory.
definitely did. And everything that Jen said was spot on about the campus, Greenville, the programs, the Furman Advantage, which, like you said, Jen, that for me, as soon as I 30 seconds on the campus, we were hearing about the Furman Advantage. So, it's definitely a distinctive thing about Furman. So I think that's great. So thank you again. And I appreciate all the information.
Absolutely.